This must be the most incredible mammal you've never heard of. She comes with her own suit of armor. They're not scales like reptiles have, but keratin, the same substance in our fingernails. She has no teeth, but has a tongue even longer than a body. And with that sticky tongue, she can eat up to 70 million ants and termites per year. When she feels threatened, she curls up into a tight ball, hiding behind her front legs. She is the pangolin, the most trafficked animal in the world. There are estimated to be 50,000 left, with 300 poached per day. Their meat is sold as a delicacy for $300 per kilo. And their scales, used for traditional medicine, can fetch up to $3,000 per kilogram. Illegal wildlife trade is a highly profitable, low-risk business for criminals. The larger the shipment, the more complex the syndicate, from poachers to brokers, transporters, and buyers. In April 2019, Singapore had the largest ever seizure of pangolins, headed from Nigeria to Vietnam and China. These consignments equated to killing of 38,000 pangolins. And criminals purposely mislabeled these consignments as frozen beef and cassia seeds. Hong Kong is also a key transit hub for onward shipments to China and other parts of Asia. And the pangolin is the most trafficked in terms of quantities seized here, with more than 110,000 in the last 7 years alone. Before coming to Hong Kong, I spent most of my career in UK law enforcement and now work with governments, regulators, and private sector to combat money laundering. Soon after I arrived, I attended a workshop that discussed how criminals were using the same routes and methods to smuggle wildlife that they were using for drugs, people, and weapons. And they had a critical advantage. For law enforcement, this isn't a priority in comparison to other forms of organized crime. This has led to illegal wildlife trade growing into a huge business. It is equated to be worth $23 billion per year. I realized I was too narrowly focusing on one type of organized crime. I had not considered how criminals lured by lower penalties and very little risk were mixing illegal wildlife trade with other commodities to avoid detection. For example, in Africa, ivory is the currency used to buy weapons between criminal networks and terrorist groups. Ivory is so precious to these criminal networks, it's called white gold. In Mexico, drug cartels are trafficking illegal wildlife to China in exchange for the chemicals to produce fentanyl. Quote, And in the middle of this are human lives, communities under constant threat when protecting wildlife from poachers. More than 100 wildlife rangers have lost their lives in the line of duty every year. What is the key driving factor for illegal wildlife trade? Crime of this scale isn't possible without corruption. Here's how it works. Criminal groups pay off public officials to access information on animal movements and patrols, or even obtain licenses and permits. Traffickers who export wildlife pay off customs officials to not search packages or consignments, or even sign off fraudulent documentation. Poachers, when caught, often attempt to bribe law enforcement, to avoid arrest, lose evidence, or even delay prosecution. A particular shocking case involved the export of more than 130 infant apes from Guinea to China between 2009 and 2011. These infant apes were destined for safari parks or zoos. Criminals used fraudulent permits to indicate that they were captive bred, therefore legal exports. But in reality, they were taken from their mothers in the wild. There was no captive breeding program in Guinea. And what made this so easy to do over 3 years? The very person responsible for protecting wildlife. Head of Guinea CITES, Convention on International Trade on Endangered Species. And when the official was arrested, he was found with a briefcase full of blank permits. How else are these criminal networks thriving? Well, very much like global legal businesses, they learn to adapt to changing circumstances, even during the global pandemic. Over the past 2.5 years, criminals saw a golden opportunity to make their business 24/7. The world's largest illegal wildlife marketplaces were a click away on our smartphones. Traders could sell directly to buyers using a QR code that would take them to a dedicated website selling protected wildlife and their products. Payment could be made within seconds. Some traders even use Signal, WhatsApp, and Telegram, which provides end-to-end encryption. Social media provided the same kind of protection as the dark web, but with a far greater reach. Facebook is also a preferred platform for brokers to advertise their products to global markets. And these products are delivered directly to warehouses or even private homes. In 2020, a man from Texas was arrested for smuggling more than $8.4 million of protected wildlife from Mexico to the US. Over a period of 4 years, every transaction occurred on Facebook. Illegal wildlife trade hidden in plain sight. Click, pay, ship. Social media companies and e-commerce platforms have joined forces with the NGOs as part of the coalition to end wildlife trafficking online. Since 2018, over 11 million posts have either been blocked or removed. Illegal wildlife trade is driven by borderless criminal organizations that are savvy and agile. Illegal wildlife is smuggled through our ports, our borders, and our smartphones every day, every week, and month. The impact of this crime can be seen right here in places such as the Kaduri Wildlife and Rescue Center. Organized crime needs an organized response. In Hong Kong, I joined with NGOs, businesses, and international partners to call for illegal wildlife trade to be considered as serious and organized crime. The law was changed last year, which provides power to law enforcement to follow the money trail, going directly after the heads of the criminal networks. And while governments, law enforcement, and non-profit organizations are working together, we can also help by saying a simple no. Say no to endangered animal products. For example, ivory ornaments, tiger tooth necklace may be luxurious, but it's coming at the cost of brutally killing animals. Say no to exotic delicacies. While in Hong Kong or traveling, it may be tempting to try something new or different, like pangolin soup or tiger bone wine. But by doing so, we are increasing the demand for consumption of wildlife. Say no to exotic animal experiences. It may be exciting to participate in an experience offered by commercial businesses with close animal encounters, like taking a selfie with a tiger. But maybe these animals are living in harsh conditions, been mistreated, or even sedated for those selfies. To paraphrase Mahatma Gandhi, our moral progress can be judged the way we treat our animals. Let us not turn a blind eye to what is happening right in front of us. The African elephant could be gone by 2040, and the pangolin even sooner. We can set the path for future generations to value and follow. Like the pangolin guarding our forests, it is our turn to step up and be their guardians before they're forever lost to the history books. Thank you.